Let us pray. Almighty God, the creator and ruler of heaven and earth, we beseech thee to inspire and guide all our actions so that we may always walk in the path of justice, love, and charity to one another. Help us with thy grace to do only those things that will promote the unity, peace, happiness, and prosperity of Nigeria in general and Lagos State in particular. Amen. Ẹ ṣe Honorable Tobo. Èmi náà ti jókòó tán pé àdúrà Yorùbá ní ká gbà lé. Nígbà tó dẹ̀ jẹ́ kò sí dìtọ̀ lọ́wọ́ ògbọ̀n. A ti ṣe àdúrà bí ká dẹ̀ tá àdúrà ṣe ni. Àlùdé ọlọ́sẹ̀ méjì ti jẹ́ ká gbàgbé ara. Mo tọrọ àforíjì. Ẹ káàsán ẹ̀yin ẹlẹgbẹ́ mi àti àwọn akọ̀wé ilé ìgbìmọ̀ aṣòfin pẹ̀lú àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ oníròyìn. A kí gbogbo wa kú ewu ọdún. Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè á jẹ́ ká ṣọ̀pọ̀ ọdún ayọ̀ ọdún ìdùnnú lélẹ́yìí máa jẹ́. Látara bẹ́ẹ̀ a kí gbogbo àwọn ènìyàn wa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Èkó àti ní Nàìjíríà lápapọ̀ pé ọdún ayọ̀ ló máa já sí fún wa. Ire ìdùnnú ayọ̀ ọbẹ̀ á jẹ́ ti gbogbo alágbára Ọlọ́run. Olè kí wa káàbọ̀ sí àpérò ti tòní. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ṣe àgbéyẹ̀wò ìjíròrò ìpàdé yìí tí ó kọjá. Page 826. Page 827. I have examined the thoughts and proceedings of Monday, 7th January 2019, and approval is here granted. Iṣẹ́ tí gómìnà fi ránṣẹ́.
Olùdarí. Àkíyèsí.
Well, I'm just being reliably informed that we still have an outstanding of votes and proceeding, the sitting we had on Tuesday, 18 December 2018, which is supposed to have come before the earlier approved vote and proceeding. Majority Leader.
Olùdarí, àkíyèsí tí mo fẹ́ kọ́kọ́ pè wá sí ni wípé bí ó tilẹ̀ jẹ́ wípé òfin fipá mú wa pé Yorùbá ni kí a sọ ní ọjọ́ òní, a rí wípé ìlànà tí a gbé kalẹ̀ fún ìjíròrò èní tá bá wo ojú ìwé ìlànà wa, ó ní àwọn iṣẹ́ kan níbẹ̀ tó jẹ́ wípé àyè ò gbà wá láti lè ṣe ògbùfọ̀ wọn sí Yorùbá, èdè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì sì ni wọ́n wà. Ìdí nìyí tí mo ṣe fẹ́ pe àwọn ẹlẹ́gbẹ́ mi wípé kí wọ́n gbà mí láyè láti dábàá láti sọ wípé kí a so ẹsẹ̀ òfin wa tó fi tipá mú wa pé ká sọ èdè Yorùbá lénìí ká sọ̀rọ̀ kí a lè ṣe ojúṣe wa lórí àwọn ìlànà tí a là sílẹ̀, pàápàá jùlọ ìpele kẹta lórí àbádòfin tí ó wà níwájú wa. Ẹ ṣé olùrọ̀. Nítorí ìdí èyí mo fẹ́ dá lábàá pé kí a so ẹsẹ̀ òfin ilé ẹsẹ̀ 84 tí ó fi dandan múlẹ̀ pé ká sọ Yorùbá kí a fi kọ́ ká fi rọ̀ ní ọjọ́ òní. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́.
Ẹ ṣé olùdarí, mo dìde láti kí àbá náà
Ṣé
lẹ́yìn.
gbogbo afaramọ́? Àwọn tí ò faramọ́, àwọn tó faramọ́ ló pọ̀ jùlọ. I may I now seek the indulgence of my colleagues to take us back and adopt the vote and proceedings of Tuesday, 18th December 2018. It's 2-3. Four. Honorable Osho.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good afternoon, colleagues. Mr. Speaker, I'm actually surprised to see my name listed under absent for that date. I'm absolutely sure I was here.
I can't hear you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I said it's surprising that my name is listed under absent. I was at the sitting, sir.
You were.
I was here, sir.
What did you do?
I contributed on that day, sir. Because I can.
No, I'm asking what you have done to the clerk at the table.
Well, I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Mr.
It's
Otsu.
good for you to
I know I've not offended Mr. Clark.
824. 825. I've examined the votes and proceedings of Tuesday, 18th December 2018, and approval is here granted. Any message from the governor?
Right, Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, we received a correspondence from His Excellency, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, the Governor of Lagos State, addressed to the Right Honorable Speaker, Lagos State House of Assembly, dated 17 December 2019. I think that's an error, it should be 2018, but we have 2019 in the letter. But received on Friday, 28 December 2018, on presentation of year 2019 budget appropriation bill. Thank you, sir.
Any other announcements?
Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a correspondence from the Public Accounts Committee states. The House Committee on Public Accounts states invites members and staff to a day public hearing on a bill for a law to amend the Lagos State Audit Law, Cap A 13, Laws of Lagos State of Nigeria 2015 on Friday, 11th January 2019 at the Lateef Kayode Jakonde Auditorium, Assembly Complex, Alausa, Ikeja by 10 a.m. Your presence will be highly appreciated, please. Signed, Honorable Emu Oshun, Chairman Public Accounts Committee State. That's all, sir.
Petitions,
None, Mr. Speaker, sir.
matter of urgent public importance, none. Personal explanation, none. Reports, none. Business, Honorable, good evening.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I greet my colleagues. Good afternoon. Well, I have a contribution concerning the letter read or mentioned by clerk that he termed correspondence from the governor. Right. He mentioned in his reading that the letter came from the governor concerning budget dated 17th of December 2019. Well, he said it was an error. And also, the letter was received on the 28th of December 2018. Well, which concerns budget, and that is why I feel there should be a sort of reaction to that. Right Honorable Speaker and my colleagues, we know that it is in the habit of this House to really go on break towards the December period, which we purposely delayed for a while before we went on that short-time break. And our intention was to really receive the budget and go thereafter for a short-time break and come back to treat the budget. This budget never received from the governor until we went on holiday. And by the time this letter came, correspondence came. It also came in on the 28th of December, which we were on break. So, and about a few days to the new year, about 3 days to the new year, I don't think there is anything we want to do. And going by this is a new dimension. If a correspondence of this nature is coming in, we have a tradition in this house where we always have a date with the governor that will come around and lay the budget before the House. So, which I don't know what that correspondent is trying to address. Also, we look at the whole process, which all totally deviate from the normal norms and the procedure of the House. Well, I feel like commenting on this because this type of thing can really cause a confusion to the public, thinking that we are delaying something, whereas we have not really delayed anything. And such things should be treated and should be addressed by all. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Oguyemi.
The Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished colleagues, good afternoon. In line with Honorable Ogundemu's submission, I listened with rapt attention to the clerk, and he actually referred to that as a correspondence from the governor. And ideally, I know that a correspondence will be read out to members. In the first instance, I don't know why this is not read out, but if what he purported to be a correspondence is the actual budget presentation, then we may excuse him for not reading it. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, the letter was received on 28th of December. And like Honorable Ogundemu rightly posited, it was 3 days away from the new year. The normal tradition of the House is that we go on recess every December for, I think, about 6 weeks. And last December, if I can recall, we adjourned for 2 weeks, and we reverted that recess to 2 weeks, beginning from second week in December, third week in December, believing that within that window of the 2 weeks, that the budget would come. And that's why we had to sacrifice the 6-week recess for 2 weeks. But it never came till we went on recess. And since it didn't come early enough, we had to proceed on that break, believing that it would come, which never did. Now, the Constitution is very clear that the budget must be laid before the House, Mr. Speaker. And let nobody create the impression that this House is not alive to its duties and responsibilities. We have always been very committed. If we have to take that budget, Mr. Speaker, the second reading cannot come until January. Even if they brought it on 28th, that we're already away. It is assumed that the governor's presentation is the first reading. So obviously the second reading cannot come until January. And if the governor has not come to present it before the House, and if they did not bring it early enough before we waited and went on 2 weeks break, there is nothing the House could have done. So I want to use this medium, Mr. Speaker, to say that the House of Assembly, under your leadership, has always and will continue to be responsible and alive to all its responsibilities as stipulated by the Constitution. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Fafun.
Right Honorable Speaker, fellow members, good afternoon. I want to say that the observation raised by Honorable Ogundimu is very apt. It's coming at a time that, the whole of Lagos, we are looking in one direction. Now, the issue being raised that has to do with the budget. We all know the importance of the budget, and that's the very reason why we are all here. When you look at when you listen to what Honorable Agbaigbe has said, Ogunyemi, thank you for correcting me. Now, the most important thing here is that the first reading of the budget is being done by His Excellency anytime he presents the budget. And going through the sections of the Constitution, Section 121 and other provisions, is expected to come here before the House and even before the entire Lagos to lay the estimates. And since this is not done yet, I strongly want to believe that the observation raised by Honorable Ogundimu is something that we need to look at critically with a view to ensuring that, the proper procedure of budget presentation is followed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Osho.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to crave your indulgence to read Section 121 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And it says, authorization of expenditure from considered revenue fund. The governor shall cause to be prepared and laid before the House of Assembly at any time before the commencement of each financial year. Mr. Speaker, sir, you and I know, sir, that this House has the record for passing of budget when presented on time. In Lagos State, we have been around for some time, and usually the budget is usually presented between October or early November. And it's on record that this House has actually passed the budget before the end of the financial year. And I remember very well, Mr. Speaker, sir, that when we were going on the Christmas break, the House leadership made us understand that we should be on standby if the budget comes on time. But if a letter is coming to the House on the 28th of December, even if we are recalled to come back on the 30th, there was absolutely nothing that can be done before the end of the year, because the letter, according to Mr. Clark, was received on the 28th. And that 28, 29 is usually the time when we would have worked on the budget for 2-3 months and passed the budget before we go on our normal end-of-year recess, which was cancelled because we were ready, as usual, as we've always been doing, to sacrifice our time, sacrifice everything to make sure that this budget goes on time. It's a record that we've laid, and it's a record that we want to keep, although this year is gone. Mr. Speaker, I know the leadership will do the right thing and maybe get in touch with Mr. Governor, but if the letter is coming on the 28th, it's got nothing, absolutely nothing. There was nothing we can do, because usually the presentation of the governor usually stands as the first reading. So if the letter came on the 28th, that means we can't see before the 30th. And that means that's the end of the year, which is a year to the new year. Mr. Speaker, I think this needs to be corrected and you'll get in touch with Mr. Governor. Thank you very much, sir.
Honorable SOB, Agunbiade.
All right, Honorable Speaker, my colleagues have raised the issue on the correspondence and the opinion there in the public domain as regards the budget of the state. Mr. Speaker, several calls were pulled to me during the before now as regards the budget of the House. Well, I did not make any comments because I actually wanted to get back to the House and get to the nitty-gritty of the sources of those assumptions and presumptions outside there. Mr. Speaker, the presumption is that the budget is before this House and we ought to have acted on it, but maybe we abdicated our responsibility by going on holiday. Mr. Speaker, that issue of holiday has been explained and that we were ready even before the Christmas break for the budget, which did not come, contrary to what used to be the tradition. And when the break was even over, as at the time, we do not have the budget of the House properly before this House. And the House can only consider what is before it. Mr. Speaker, I've been in this House for quite some time, and maybe it is necessary, Mr. Speaker, to do a bit of enlightenment to the public as to the procedure and the process of budget passing, which has become the tradition of this House. We all know that before the governor presents his budget at all, there is this bilateral meeting between the executive and the parliament to look at some other areas that will benefit Lagosians and possibly the issue of a town hall meeting and the rest of it. That has been the tradition for some time. There will be a meeting. And we believe that a date will be fixed, or even unofficially, for governor to present his budget. It is after this is agreed upon that the budget is presented today. It is laid before the House. The word laid before the House is that the document will be presented before the teaming members of this House. And it's when it is presented, as we present our reports, it's when it is late that we can present. So when it is late, the governor goes ahead to present his report. So, Mr. Speaker, I guess that the correspondence before the clerk is and should be, Mr. Speaker, I don't know if I can be
Presentation of 2019 budget appropriation.
presentation, sir. I'm not quizzing, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure it will run to up to 2-3 pages, if not about. So that should be the presumed presentation that the governor will speak to the budget. Is the document that the governor will speak. So what we may have now is a document that is not even properly before the House of Assembly because it should be laid before the House of Assembly. We were here last year, and we know what the governor did with his budget. After being laid, he went to present the budget, and subsequently the House fell into committees, and the various committees looked into the budget, and that's when the appropriation committee looked at it and the budget. So this procedure must commence from when it is properly before the House of Assembly. The report of any committee of the House is not properly before the House of Assembly unless such report is laid. It's after it is laid that it will now be assigned for second reading. The same way when the governor laid the report and present the budget, it is taken as first reading, then we will now adjourn and take it subsequently. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that we may not blame members of the public too much because they may not really know the procedure it takes. But we are saying that, as at this moment, the budget of the House, the budget of the state is not properly in line with legislative procedure and in line with the Constitution, Section 121, which says that shall cause it to be laid any time before the end of the financial year. And financial year, Mr. Speaker, is usually January to December. I want to guess that it was when it was discovered that the executive is running out of time that that letter was made. Possibly that even caused the error in citing 2019 instead of 2018. And a letter, a document brought in for the House of Assembly on the 28th means that all through Christmas and the rest of it, nothing about the budget was before the House of Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I would just want us to take this in our usual family way and relate appropriately to make sure that the executive takes the right procedure that we have been taking and the matter is sorted. The House of Assembly under leadership, we know, is very ready at any time to do that. We should put the state in proper state. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Well, I want to thank all of you that have spoken, and I sincerely want to commend you. You know, the way and manner with which you've been able to shed light on the darkness that surrounded the budget issue for the last 2.5 weeks. I'm very happy that you have been with maturity to make it clear to the whole Lagosians. For me, this is not the time for resentment. This is not the time for acrimony, and this is not time for agitation. We must have at the back of our mind that we have stake that is beyond May 2018. Our stake runs up to 4 years. So we must do everything possible to sustain and to hold in high esteem what we call governments, what we call party, and what we call people of Lagos. That should be our own consideration. Those who have a very short stake can afford to do anything they like, you know, even in the name of budget presentation. And that is what you all have been able to do, you know, to shed lights on it and all that has to do with the budgets. Well, we went on break on 18th of December, and the first call that I received in respect of the budget was on Thursday. Was it Thursday on the 24th? That was the eve of the Christmas. That was it Monday. That the willingness of the executive to present budgets by 24th of December, while we have proceeded on break, short one. And we went on 2 weeks break in recognition of the fact that there might be need to receive the budget. If we go back in history, this house goes on recess from December for 6 weeks, either early week in January or in December for 6 weeks. And we've been not able to, you know, to call for break for 2 weeks just to create room or windows for the executive to present the budget. Unfortunately, the letter came on December 17, 2009, though 2018, but 2019 is written on the letter, and it was received by this house around 28 December. 28 December, as rightly mentioned by Honorable Godimo, was about 3 days, and every meaningful individual was in the mood of preparing for the New Year break or celebration. So I think there is no reason for the shifting of blames or putting the heavy load on the house that the house has refused to receive for one reason or the other. We are always ready. We have been doing this. We have the records in place. There's no reason for us to reject the budget. We will always receive the budget when it is done properly and when the executive is ready to present it. We are here. The essence of coming here is to do this job. And we are representing the interests of our people. And we will always do that. So there is no fault at the doorstep of the assembly. The assembly is prepared and is always ready to receive the budget. And as I said, we have a huge stake, and that should be our consideration. We must protect that. And our stake, inshallah, goes beyond May 2019. That is our consideration, and that's what we'll be working towards. We have no resentment. We have no bad blood. We are ready to receive the budget when the executive is ready. And the 121 cited shall cause to lay before the House. So nobody else can do it except the governor. The letter we have here is not even a letter. It's a correspondence addressed to the Speaker. Presentation of year 2019 budget appropriation bill. And, it can't be, there's no way we can read this. It has to be presented. None of us can present the budget on behalf of the executive. So the head of the executive must be ready to come and perform his constitutional duty. And we are also willing to receive it. So on this note, I want to thank you for taking this with maturity. Thank you very much. Majority Leader, business of the day. Laying of reports. Honorable Tunde Brahimo. So, good evening, sorry, Honorable, good evening.
Good afternoon, Right Honorable Speaker and my colleagues. I'm here to lay a report of the Committee on Finance on a bill for a law to amend the Lagos State Public Procurement Law 2011. I so lay.
Thank you.
Also, I have another report to be laid. Report on Committee on Finance on a bill for a law to repeal and reenact the Lagos State Public-Private Partnership Law 2011. I so lay.
Majority Leader.
The Right Honorable Speaker. Next on the other paper is House of Assembly Bill number 20, Lagos State Local Government Service Commission Bill, co-sponsored by, supported by Honorable Jimoh OW, Honorable Kazim RA, Honorable Olowo RE, Honorable Shinawa SA, Honorable Gundimu O, Honorable Yusuf AA, Honorable Oshun Mashood Olariwaju. Mr. Speaker, may I humbly move that this bill be read for the third time. I so move.
Honorable Olulade.
I rise to second the motion as moved.
All in favor say aye. Those against nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, Majority Leader, please approach.
Right Honorable Speaker, distinguished honorable members, with your kind permission, I would like to read for the third time a bill for a law to repeal and reenact the Lagos State Local Government Service Commission Law, Chapter L 43, Volume 6, Laws of Lagos State, and for connected purposes. Thank you, sir.
A bill for a law to provide for the establishment of the Lagos State Local Government Service Commission and for connected purposes. The Lagos State House of Assembly enacts as follows. Section 1. Section 2. Section 3, subsection 1. Section 3, subsection 1, paragraph A. Paragraph B. Section 3, subsection 2. Section 3, subsection 3. Section 4. Section 4, subsection 1. Section 4, subsection 1, paragraph A. Paragraph B. Paragraph C. Paragraph D. Section 4, subsection 2. Section 5. Section 6, subsection 1. Honorable Tunde Ibrahim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry to drag you back to section 5, sir. Section 5, there is an error there which I seek to be corrected, sir. The members of the commission shall hold office on a full-time basis for a period of 5 years and shall be eligible for reappointed. You should read reappointment, sir.
Maybe.
Maybe eligible for reappointment, sir, not reappointed.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Section 6, subsection 1, paragraph A, B, C, D. Section 6, subsection 2. Section 7. Section 7, subsection 1, subsection 2. Section 8. Section 9. Section 9, paragraph A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Section 10. Section 11, Section 12, Section 13, Section 13, subsection 1, 13, subsection 2, Section 14, Section 15, Section 16, Section 17, subsection 1, Section 17, subsection 2, Section 18, Section 19, subsection 1, Section 19, subsection 2, Section 20, Section 21, Section 21, subsection 1, Honorable Abiu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Sorry for taking you back, sir. Section 10, sir. I think there's a word missing here, the second
10.
line. Yes, sir.
Were you sleeping?
No, sir. I just want to be sure that the commission, with the kind permission, sir, the commission may appoint committees to carry out on its behalf such functions as it may determine necessary. Such as it may determine.
Huh?
Determine.
As it may determine,
Yes.
that is decision of the subcommittee.
Does that make sense? I just want us to be sure that this statement is correct. What I was thinking is correct. See what? Carry out on its behalf such functions as it may determine, but no decision.
Section 21, subsection 2. Section 21, subsection 2, paragraph A, B, C. Section 22. Section 22, subsection 1, subsection 2. Section 23. Section 23, subsection 1. Section 23, subsection 2. Section 23, subsection 2, paragraph A. Paragraph B, C. Section 23, subsection 3. Section 23, subsection 3, paragraph A, B, C. Section 24. Section 25. Section 25, subsection 1, subsection 2. Section 26. Section 26, subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3. Section 27. Section 28. That a bill for a law to provide for the establishment of the Lagos State Local Government Service Commission and for connected purposes be passed into law. All in favor, say ayes. Those against, no. The ayes have it. Mr. Clerk, kindly send the clean copy to His Excellency, Mr. Kunmi Ambode, for his absence. Thank you. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, we have exhausted all that are listed for plenary today. And with your approval, may I move that this House adjourns to Tuesday, the 15th day of January at 10 o'clock. I so move.
Honorable Ishaq.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to second the motion as moved by the leader. Thank you.
All in favor, say ayes. Those against, no. The ayes have it. This House stands adjourned to Tuesday, 18 January 2019 at 10 a.m. prompt. I rise.